There you go. Right, we're off with the fabulous Miss Suzi Quatro, and we're going to talk about the 1972 tour that Suzi did with Slade and Thin Lizzy. Not a bad lineup.
Not a bad lineup. I'll give you a little bit of history of that. I arrived here in 71, October. Mickey Most discovered me in the all-girl band I was in and brought me over, solo contract. And I took his and not the Elektra Records offer. They wanted me same week. They both came the same week and they both only wanted me. Very strange. Anyway, Elektra Records wanted to take me to New York and make me into the next Janis Joplin, which I'm not. And Mickey said, I'll take you to London and record you and make you into the first Suzi Quatro. So I took Mickey's offer. Anyway, nothing happened for a while. About 15 months down the road, I was getting stir crazy. We were recording. Mickey couldn't get me on record. So I said, I need a band. Been in band since I've been 14. I'm going crazy here. Got a band. Mickey put us on the university circuit. We got an agent. And then he called Chas Chandler, who he knew because he produced the Animals. So he found out that Slade were going to be doing their first national tour. And he said, I have a great girl. I want you to put her on the show. She's going to be a big star. He said, put her on at the beginning. So that's what happened. I got shoved onto the tour. I had 20 minutes at the beginning of the show. And I did all original material. Then it was Thin Lizzy, then it was Slade. And it was during that tour that obviously the band really came together, as it happens. You know, that was my first big tour. Hadn't had a hit yet, but I formed my sound on that tour.
I was doing a little bit of research thing, and whether or not it's true or not, but you were due to play the Cavern a couple of days before the tour. Do you remember that?
I don't.
You advertised. You advertised in the Liverpool Echo.
Okay.
But then there's a little bit saying that the band disintegrated, and this is literally 2 days before the tour. Does that make sense?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. In fact, we went on the tour with the original band, which was my ex-husband, Len Tucky. Alistair McKenzie on keys, Keith Hodge, and myself on bass. And that's the band that made the first hit record. And then just before the Can came out, the drummer, who was causing a lot of problems, may he rest in peace, he decided to leave, and we got Dave Neal in for 48 Crash onwards, and Dave Neal became the drummer till he left in the late 80s. You know, so he was my drummer forever. But no, that's not true. The band didn't disintegrate whatsoever. Only one record left just before the first hit came out.
That's literally what it says, that the band disintegrated. Cavern gig was cancelled. It's all in the Liverpool Echo. I'll send you the bits. It's quite interesting.
No, that's wrong. We never canceled anything. In fact, the only thing that happened was he left before the record came out. So Mickey said, quickly get somebody in, the record's due out. It was seamless. It was seamless. We held an audition. We got our drummer. He was in the band. I don't remember any gigs being canceled. Not that I can remember. And I'm sure I would have remembered that.
Especially the Cavern.
I would have remembered.
Yeah. I'll send you.
No, it would have been a talking point many times. So, and you know, if I had, it was just a case of him calling one night at the hotel where we were living, and he said, I don't want to be in the band anymore. We went to see Mickey, and Mickey said, get somebody in now, and we did. Yeah.
You said you were doing some of the university gigs. How was it then going on for big sort of bigger venues and things like that? I know you've been with the stuff in America, but was it a totally different thing for you, sort of going out to, Birmingham and London and all those sort of things?
No, not at all. I'd been in band since the age of 14. Playing big game. The second wave of the Pleasure Seekers, we supported, because we hadn't had any hits yet, we supported Mountain, we supported Santana. We did the festivals. No, it wasn't anything unusual. Nothing at all. no, I
No,
didn't even think.
I just wondered, that's all, because of you say
Yeah.
you're in sort of
No.
doing the
I mean,
thing.
I'd played the big gigs before, so
Yeah.
I just hadn't had any hit records yet. That's all.
Were you familiar with the UK as such, or were you just centrally based wherever Mickey Mouse had put you?
Well, Mickey's company was here,
Yeah.
so he said, come to England and we'll record.
Yeah.
And then when we're done recording, he thought it would take about 3 months. He said, then you can go back home, put your record out. But it didn't work out that way because that was 1971 and now it's 2021. So it was a little bit off on his timing. I just ended up putting down roots here. It just happened. I don't know how it happened. It just did.
I'm assuming you were aware of who Slade were.
Yeah, sure.
Because they'd been having the hits by then and first number ones and all that sort of stuff. Were you sort of, was that the ideal sort of thing for you, for the music you were making then? You wanted a loud brash band to go out with and the audience, as opposed to some very clever arty-farty sort of group, you know?
I thought it was a good fit. I mean, I was a rock and roller, and yeah, I feel very easily on that bill. Don even says in my documentary that, and Naughty said it on This Is Your Life too, that that the fans notoriously hated support groups, and Naughty says it, I won them over immediately, and Don says it too. So I don't know why, but it fit, and we all became good friends on that tour. Fell in love with my first husband on that tour. He was my guitar player, and every time we all get together, we talk about it. That was good fun. It was a fun tour. Fun.
And the thing is as well, because they were the 3-piece thing, weren't they? With
yes, yeah, they were. And in fact, we even stayed at Phil Lynnett's mother's bed and breakfast place when we were in that area. So
it's all very insular, isn't it? It's all very, sort of. It's all supposed to be rock and roll, but you're staying at somebody's mother's place and things like that.
I know, very strange. Well, we were all connected, I mean, I'm still a friend with Naughty, and of course, Don and me with Andy Scott. We went on to make Quattro, Scott and Powell, so we're all close, very close.
Yeah.
And Don and I have said, people when they heard, sorry, I digress a second, but Don says it, and everybody that hears it says it. For some reason, Don and I play together like we've played together forever. The bass and the drums. Don says it himself. Everybody's commented, oh my God, that's your first time you've played together? You're kidding me. Because it just is like a jigsaw puzzle,
Yeah.
So I think we play the same kind of way, from the same instinct,
Yeah. It was a good bass playing lineup, wasn't it? You got yourself, Jimmy Lee.
3 good players. And all different. All different too. You had myself, and I'm very much more Motown and boogie. That's my style. Little bit of walking jazz thrown in, very Jamerson. He was my hero. You've got Phil, who was, and I've told Phil this many times, frustrated guitar player. And he never argued with me. And Jimmy was more the musical bass player.
Yeah.
He played a lot of melody with his bass lines. He wasn't what I call an organic bass player. He was a musical bass player. So you had 3 different styles of bass playing, all good in their own right,
Yeah. It's just, that's a lot of people sort of say because of the bass playing. Obviously, it's a pure coincidence. Everybody's known for the bass playing, including Jim. I mean, Jim does his bits and pieces. Did you do the old standing by the side of the stage and watching them and saying, "Oh, remember that," or were you already that competent enough?
I already had my my stagecraft down. I mean, I was in the business since 14 years old. I was 21 then, 22, and I'd done more gigs than I had hot dinners, and I was the main focal point, the lead singer, bass player. So I had my act down.
Yeah.
But of course I used to watch. Sure, I'd watch both acts. Yeah. But I was way past the stage of needing to take anything from anybody.
Yeah.
I was already me,
Yeah. One question I was going to ask, but it doesn't sound any interesting. There's a sort of a fairly popular legend that Chaz told Thin Lizzy's group that if they didn't improve what they were doing, they were off the tour. But from the way you're talking, I'm assuming that conversation never took place with Suzi Quatro.
I never had any demands put on me.
No, this is what we're saying, but apparently it worked. Whether or not it's true, everybody says it's true, and it's written in all the books. You know, literally they said either pull your socks up or you
Now
off the
that I
tour.
don't, okay, that I don't know. I kind of remember something like that a little bit. I mean, I went out there and gave my all for my. I never had any problems. I went out there and
No,
did
that's
all
great. That's great.
all my own
Yeah.
songs and ripped the place apart. You know, and don't forget, Phil did have a substance problem, so maybe that came into it sometimes. You know, bless him.
Yeah. No, it's just you get these little legends, don't you? Things come up.
Yeah,
That's all.
but
So,
nothing was ever said to me about my part
that's
of the
good.
show.
And you never had any problems with the audience.
No,
No, because Slade audiences are fairly tough, especially
no.
70.
This is what I said right at the beginning of the
Yeah.
interview.
Yeah.
And when Nadi came on, This Is Your Life, that was what he said. He said Susie got him immediately.
Yeah.
And then they
Yeah.
were notorious. They would throw things at the support, not me.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll just say no more about that. That was the tour as well. Just as a little aside, Dave Hill broke his ankle. Do you remember? Do you remember that?
I was there when that happened. Yeah, he fell off his platform boot.
Laugh. Sorry.
And then they just carried him. He was on a throne. He was playing on a gold throne. I remember that. Yeah. God. Well, you know, good for him.
Yeah. Tin foil around the boots and all that sort of thing. There's a TV appearance where he sort of hops on the tin foil and.
I remember that happening, but the tour went ahead. You know, I mean, I broke my arm in 2007 or 8. Anyway, I had an Australian tour booked, sold out, and this was not going to be healed. And my husband said, "You have to do the tour. You take a bass player." So I had to hire a bass player for the first and only and last time in my life. But I did the tour.
Brilliant. There's lots of silly little coincidences. Slade had just come off a European tour with Fanny, which was your sister.
I don't know if she was. It depends what year. No, I don't think she was in the band yet.
72. Was it too early? Do you think?
She wouldn't have been in the band yet. She joined. Oh, I think she did join. My memory, because she was with my brother's band in 72.
Oh, right. Okay.
I think so. It would have been the original band, and maybe with Bree on drums. Wouldn't have been Patty.
Yeah.
She would have been joining in 74 or 75, and she was only in the band for a couple of years.
Yeah, we can do an obscure link to it, sort of. a future link. We'll make it up. I think that's the best way. Oh yes, the next thing. It's a silly one, but could you understand what they were saying? The thing is, you were Irish. Slade were Black Country. You were Detroit. Could you was it all sign language, or did you sort of?
Well, had been here since October 71, so I had gotten used to dialects by then. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Didn't have a problem. I didn't have a problem.
No.
I think the hardest one to understand is that thick Scottish accent. Good God. Yeah. But no, I didn't have a problem with any of those accents. No. And there's enough of those in America, you know. I mean, it's a melting pot there. So.
Well, this is it. I mean, this is it. No, it just seems sort of, sometimes people have trouble with the Black Country thing, and because it's sort of, it can go deeper and deeper. No, the Slade were all right. They're sort of mid-level.
No, I was fine. And don't forget, my piano player was from Ireland. He was from Bangor.
Yeah. And
my drummer at the time was from Wales.
Oh, right.
So I had it around me all the time. No, it didn't bother me.
Yeah, hands across the sea, multinational stuff. Good. That's what I like to hear. No, it's just sort of thing, because I've had people on who've got no chance, and Don and myself, and I've spoken to Nod and Jim, and sort of the accent things, as we go on, the accent gets deeper. And I know after I've spoken to Don, I'll go back and speak to my wife, and she said, "You've been speaking to Don," because his accent is different to mine.
Yeah, it does happen. That does happen. That does, yeah.
Yeah, no, but that's it.
And I've never lost mine.
No, No, that's true.
Never wanted to.
No. You just released, well, a few months earlier, you released Rolling Stone, hadn't you, as a single? Did you play that live, or was it just?
I think we did play that live. Yeah, it was a turntable hit, and it went to *1 in Portugal.
Portugal. I was trying.
#1 in Portugal. Anyway, it was a good record, very good record. Was Peter Frampton on guitar, me on bass, Mick Waller on drums. Errol Brown sang backgrounds with me. We wrote the song together. Yeah, got a history of that song. Yeah,
that's a good T-shirt, though, isn't it? #1 in Portugal.
Isn't that great? Isn't that great? Who could say that?
Yeah.
And it didn't do anything anywhere else. And I never had a hit in Portugal again. That's what's so crazy. No, I did have some hits, but #1 in Portugal. Yeah, there you go.
You did quite. Do you think you did well off the tour? Because Can the Can came out '73, and you got a little, but you got quite a good buzz going, hadn't you? Sort of press wise. You were the little girl who come off the noisy Slade.
The band had formed itself, and we found our feet on that tour because you're playing every night naturally, so you get tighter and tighter, and we found our sound. And when we came off that tour, Mickey had just signed Chin and Chapman. Right. And he said, why don't we have Quietly So? He said, because Mickey just couldn't get me in the studio. He's the first one to say so. Didn't get it. Just couldn't get it on record. He said, why don't I have Mike come and listen to the show? Because it's all original. And maybe he can craft you. Because I was signed as a singer, songwriter, musician. So I write mainly my own. But Mickey said, see if he can craft you one of their magical 3-minute things based on what you do.
Yeah.
They came and saw the set, and they went away that night. And the next day they came in with Can the Can. And if you listen to the first album, it's all follows through. Yeah. So that's what they were particularly good at, crafting the 3-minute single.
Can't argue with you, can you? It's sort of, I know people will and people do, and Chinny Chap and all that sort of stuff. But if they're making the money and then writing the songs, and you also, hindsight is a great thing. It always is with these things, isn't it?
Well, we worked very well together. There's a lot of times. I always tell the story because it's funny. I wrote the majority of the albums and all the B-sides, which were at Mike's insistence, great B-sides. And in fact, he used to say, put an extra bar in here, put this here, because I don't want them to flip the song. So we put really good stuff. But there was one time I was doing vocal line. I was in the studio recording, doing the vocals to Mama's Boy. And I stopped singing and I said to Mike, who was producing, I said, Mike, do me a favor. Next time you write me a song, can you give me a chance to breathe somewhere? And he said, Suzi, you wrote this one. I went, okay. So we did cross barriers, we were very much in tune with each other.
Yeah, genius. I love it. I love it. You've obviously crossed paths with Slade a few times over the years.
Sure.
I'm not going to talk about QSP now because I want Don to get involved with that, because I think there might be some tales to tell about that. But QSP, fantastic idea.
Was my husband's idea.
Really?
Quite a few years ago. And we were all so busy. And then finally I just said, listen, guys, because we had all agreed and said, let's do it now. And we did. Yeah. Really a good album too. Really, really fun. We all enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, I got I think 2 copies upstairs, because I got the white vinyl one and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
The fanboy in me, you have to buy stuff. But now we'll sort something out with Don, because Don loves these. He really does. And obviously we sort of sorted out via Don, and we'll talk and we'll do that. But I think, unless you've got some revelation about the 1972 Slade Thin Lizzy Suzi Quatro tour, for the fans, I know, fish and chip suppers, anything like that.
No, we didn't do that. We had a few parties. Fish
and chip suppers are very popular. If you tell tales about going fish, if you tell tales about we went down the Chippy, people love it. Like,
but they're in the they were in their vehicle, we were in ours, and Missy were in theirs. It wasn't all
Yeah,
together. Yeah,
no.
but I'm not, every time I see Nadia, he always tells me, I watched you and Lenny fall in love. My
I
first
think
husband.
that's a good way to end. I'll
Good.
say thank you.
Okay,
And I'll stop the recording and I'll talk to you just over this. So thank you so much.
my pleasure.